Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into today's video. Hey guys, thanks for joining me here on another episode of Crossing the Line. And we're going back to lockdowns in WA. Western Australia has decided that they're going to go back into complete and utter mayhem and lock the borders down just like it was the middle of COVID. Now, Mark McGowan, the dictator over in Western Australia, has decided it's everyone's self-best interest that you're going to be searched, you're going to be apprehended at each border crossing, whether it's in Perth, Port Hedland, on the roads or in the airports. You will be stopped, you will be searched because drugs, apparently. So this is where the draconian laws and disgusting amount of power these premiers were given during COVID. This is where it went. This is what happened. They said, no. It's just an emergency act. It's going to go away once COVID goes away. But COVID's never going away, is it? It's going to be here forever. We're going to have to deal with it forever. Just because I'm talking about it now, there's going to be a little thing underneath the video saying COVID misinformation. Click here to get your facts straight from the Queensland government or whatever it is. Mark McGowan, he was the one that was telling people, if you don't go and get a vaccine, if you think you don't even want a vaccine, if you know someone, you talk to someone who doesn't have a vaccine, then you are a conspiracy theorist, you're an anti-vaxxer, and basically you're scum. You're not allowed to leave your homes. Hell, we will fine you if you do. And it's exactly what he did and exactly what he's going to do now. So this is where those laws went. This is for all the people that said, oh, no. They'll go away once COVID goes away. Yeah, but they'll come back in some sort of form. And he's using methamphetamine as the new COVID in this case. So apparently, over COVID, a lot of drug crime and drug issues dropped in WA. I'm not surprised because 90% of people weren't allowed to go to work unless they had a jab. And so they can't afford to go and buy their drugs, can they? So the only people being able to go and get their drugs were people on the dole who kept getting paid, which is generally probably your highest drug users, I'd say anyway. And they didn't even have to go and get the jab anyway because their payments wouldn't stop if they did. But if you didn't go and get the jab, or 3 or 4 now in WA, you weren't allowed to go to work. So who does that put the onus on to go and get the jab? Pretty much anyone who wants to continue their way of life. Anyone who doesn't want to be ruined or shut down or poor and living on the street has to go and get the jab in Western Australia. And Mark McGowan should be tried in crimes against humanity, crimes against his people. He should be tried for treason. I don't care. Whatever it is, send him to the gallows like they all should be. We'll take a look at this story from the Daily Mail, shall we? Insidious way, Mark McGowan is taking Western Australia back to COVID by handing cops sweeping new powers. Once a dictator, always a dictator. WA giving police new COVID-style checkpoint powers. Premier Mark McGowan said it would stop the meth trade. Checkpoints to be set up on roads out of the airport. Western Australia is desperate to go back to how things were during the coronavirus pandemic as it reintroduces draconian COVID-style police checkpoints under the guise of cracking down on illegal drugs and bikies. From later this year, visitors to Western Australia by road, air or sea will have to pass through police-manned barricades where vehicles can be searched. The measures are part of the package of extraordinary powers being handed to police by Premier Mark McGowan under what is being called the Meth Buster laws. The laws will be in place until at least 2028. The Western Australian government said police requested the move because during the pandemic period, meth use dropped by 51% in Perth and up to 73% in the regional areas. This new law going in to make it tougher than ever for organised crime to bring drugs into Western Australia, Mr McGowan said. Police Minister Paul Papalia said that the state was effectively creating a hard meth border. The phrase conjured up memories of the pandemic period where Western Australia's hard borders effectively shut it off from the world for 697 days. 697 days! You were shut down. That's disgusting. For what? For nothing. For no reason. Because there was a cold going around. And people still voted for him. You idiots voted for him again. You're as bad as fucking Victoria. You deserve this if you voted for him. You voted him in the first time. He fucked you over with COVID. You didn't learn your lesson then. You still haven't learned it now. You voted him back in, and now you're getting lockdowns, seizures, and fucking anal probes at the airport now because of meth. Is meth that big of a problem? I spent time over in Perth. I didn't see any crackheads laying dead on the street. This is just utter tyranny, and you people who vote for this think it's good. Oh, I don't mind getting frisked at the airport. You shouldn't be getting frisked driving into a state and driving out of a state. It's one country. He's trying to cut it off from the rest of us and pretend he's got his own little dictatorship over there. Well, I'll tell you what happens to dictators. They usually get fucking whacked. It's disgusting. I'm sick of this country, people voting for these morons. I guarantee you, it's only the people that live in the major city vote for stupid pricks like him, and then the rest of the country, we all just have to deal with it because you have the population there in the city. And we who run the country, who provide fruits, vegetables, livestock, keep the country moving, give it power. We're the ones with the solar panels on our roofs. We're the ones paying extra friggin' petrol prices. We're the ones paying extra for our fruits and vegetables and groceries and everything. And we produce it all. And the cunts who live in cities vote and fuck everyone else over in the country over. I guarantee you, it's the same there in WA. It's the same here in Queensland. Everyone in Brisbane who votes for it, they go and vote the stupid bastards in. They go and vote the stupid government in. And then everyone else in the country votes a different way. But our votes don't count because we do not have the numbers compared to the people in the city. We're fucked. We are never going to get out of this cycle that we're in. It's going to be the same forever. The minority of people that run the country and that contribute to it, and we make things better every day, are the ones who are getting fucked here. They go and spend all the money in the cities. We get nothing. Our roads are fucked. Our infrastructure's fucked. We have no satellite service. We have no mobile phone service. You can be in the middle of my closest town and you'll have fucking no signal. How does that work? If a town of, say, 100,000 people and you have no cell phone service in middle of town, that's fucked. And you go to a city, they get everything they need because they get, we've got to take care of them. They're our voting base. Of course they do. Same in WA. It's going to fuck all the tiny communities in WA over. Just disgusting how these people just keep doing the same thing again. Mr. Popular said the laws particularly target on bikie drug importation. This really enables us to focus on disrupting and breaking the power of the outlaw motorcycle gangs have on our communities. They have no power on your communities. The outlaw motorcycle gangs, you've ruined them. You've gutted them anyway. They can't even congregate in groups of more than two. They're not allowed to wear their patches. They're raided every 2 days. They aren't the ones bringing the fucking drugs in. You know the drugs that are bringing in that are doing more harm than meth? Pfizer's bringing them in. Moderna's bringing them in. They're the companies you should be after, but you're getting a paid kickback from them. They're the drug companies, they're the drug pushers that you should be going after as a government, not fucking bikies that are selling a little bit of meth to crackheads down the road, which is barely happening in this country. We don't have an epidemic of it like they do in, like, say, San Francisco in the US or something like that. It's insane. It's like they're coming up with these... It's like using a flamethrower to kill a cockroach. Yes, it will work, but is it a bit of overkill? Are you going to burn the whole country or the house down alongside of it? Yeah, probably. No one's going to be smoking meth because they can't get in and out of the fucking state because you can't. No one's going to go there for holidays. You're going to lose all your income from fucking people going there on holidays and vacations and shit like that, which is hard enough as is. Because the flights over there are disgustingly expensive. It costs you more to fly there than it does to go to another fucking country. And that's only going to jack it up because people aren't going to go there if they're going to get stopped at the border every time they go in. Besides the usual crap you get at an airport, even if it's just a domestic flight, you get out of the airport, you're going to get pulled over, you're going to get dragged to the side and strip searched by the fucking police looking for meth. What a load of shit. The meth deliveries come in from overseas and they come in from interstate and they're delivered by Western Australia by triads and the mafia and cartels overseas. Triads, mafia and cartels overseas. Where is this happening in WA? Is there some sort of massive Yakuza problem going on? Are they fighting with the Sopranos in the middle of fucking Perth? No, they're not. It's Sons of Anarchy going on over in WA. You're making it sound like it's some sort of massive crime syndicate that's just the only person who can save it from is fucking Batman. Maybe Mark McGowan thinks he's Batman. Who fucking knows? However, not everyone agrees with the new border powers. No shit. Nova newsreader said the social commentator Michael Stephenson was one who expressed her concerns. If this doesn't worry you, it should. The Western Australian native said. Rebel News chief Avi Yemeni labelled Mark McGowan as a dictator for bringing back the laws. Mark McGowan is now bringing back pandemic-style powers for other uses indefinitely. Once a dictator, always a dictator. Look at that scumbag. There will be 22 permanent police stations in areas around airports, ports, roads and rail border crossings into Western Australia. Roads out of the airport, ports and rail stations will have checkpoints where police will have the power to stop vehicles and search them using electronic wands and drug detection dogs. There will be exemptions to stop the search powers for people engaging in certain activities, although it is unclear what those are. Despite WA police gaining powers that no other force in Australia has, the state government assured the public that they would not be misused. Oh yeah, because the police didn't misuse any of their powers they were given over COVID. They didn't beat the shit out of old people in the street. They didn't pepper spray grandma who fell over in the road twice. They didn't bust in your house and knock down your fucking door and arrest you for posting a fucking thing on Facebook, did they? No, because they didn't do that. No, it didn't happen for years and still continues to happen. No, because they wouldn't abuse their powers. They wouldn't have handed out millions of dollars of fines to people for being outside, and then only now after COVID, all those fines have been rescinded because they're unjust and unlawful. No, they wouldn't do anything like that, would they? They wouldn't abuse their powers as a police officer. That shit doesn't happen. It said that several checks and balances are in place, which include oversights of the State Corruption and Crime Commission. The WA Police Commissioner Cole Branch described the laws as a new tool in the toolbox and stop drug trafficking. You know the biggest fucking tool? Mark McGowan and the fucking people who vote for him. Police officers will use all legislative options and the range of capabilities to stop these drugs entering our community and bring the criminals behind these importations to justice, he said. During the COVID period from April 20th, 2020 to March 2022, Western Australia prevented more than anyone from entering the state except for essential purposes. After declaring the state was reopening, Mr. Mark McGowan acknowledged the hard border had greatly affected many people, but insisted it was necessary to save lives. Putting one in place was not something that I thought we would ever have to do as Premier, he wrote on social media. It's something I hope no Premier ever has to do again. Then why are you doing it? You're literally doing the thing you said you wish you didn't have to do, but you're doing it to save people's lives. There is not enough of a meth epidemic, pandemic, whatever it is, in Western Australia to be forcing a hard border on people. You cannot just give these government people these dictatorship laws where they can just make up their own shit as they go without them abusing it. Every inch we give them, they use to hang us with. Every single inch. You might as well be giving them a loaded gun and putting it to your head because they will fuck you over with everything we give them. Western Australia, Northern Territory, they were rounding up Aboriginal people out of communities and locking them in detainment centres. Queensland probably had it the most lenient over here. New South Wales, holy shit, did they go down hard. Victoria wasn't even Australia for 2 years. Victoria was the most locked down state. Melbourne was the most locked down city in the world. You were not allowed to leave your small little isolated district. You weren't allowed to leave your home. In Northern Territory, if you didn't get the jab, you were getting fined. If you went outside with a coffee cup that wasn't full, didn't have coffee in it in New South Wales, the police would check that and they would send you a fine. If you said no, if you disagreed with them on social media and wanted to go to a protest, they were knocking on your door, taking your children from your arms and arresting you for a common cold. And now the people who gave these guys the law, gave these guys the ability to make these rules, they are getting beaten over the head with it again. Western Australia, you are fucked from here on out because they have the law and they're going to use it. They're not just going to we're never going to do this again. No. They're going to pretend that they're saving you from this massive meth epidemic that no one's having a problem with. And they're going to spend how many millions of dollars a year on doing this? 22 permanent police search areas? 22 of them? Western Australia is a huge place. It's like half of the fucking United States. It's massive. 22 of them? That's going to cost you, Western Australian government, Western Australian taxpayers, an absolute fortune. And it's not going to do shit. Meth isn't coming in on planes. People aren't flying in with fucking bundles of meth wrapped to them, are they? Oh, my fucking God. One time our government takes the reins and they go, we've got you, we're going to take care of you. And they screwed the fucking pooch. They screwed it up massively. Every single one of them. It wasn't just our country. It was every country in the world basically fucked it up. And now we're paying the price. Every law that they've used, they are going to use again. We're not just going to see all these COVID laws disappear. They're going to use them again. They're going to be monitoring your social media. If you say something that the government doesn't like, you're going to get a fucking knock on the door. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.